and they will ban that away. Feels like the bans on red side just very cemented. It just feels like you don't have too many options when it comes to sort of specific target bans. And DRX goes straight for the Kalista here. So obviously a pick we see banned a decent amount, but we haven't honestly seen it played that much on the current patch. Did get those slight nerfs a while ago. One game, wow.
Yeah, here in the LCK, it's 1-0.
Yeah, so a powerful pick, but it definitely cements to me that Teddy and Pleta want to go hard in the bot lane. They really want to try and find an advantage there. T1 looking at the Azir for FAKER. Obviously something he's very comfortable on. And in this situation, could just end up taking a jungle for Ona here. We'll see what they opt to go for. Obviously, Nidalee not... You know, typically we've seen a lot of these AP junglers wanting to pair with like an AD mid, but like Vi is open and very popular. Could still just go the Nidalee himself if he really wanted to. Could pick up the AD from other areas. But actually opting to go for the Senna. This feels a little bit risky. Obviously, a lot of pairings to go with the Senna. It's something that T1's bot lane have played a lot, but you know, if you end up having a melee support who has to farm, it's so difficult to walk up against like a Kalista Renata. That being said, DRX have to be a little bit careful. If you pick Renata here, you could end up playing into something like Senna Seraphine, which could be a really painful matchup.
Yeah.
If you pick the Nautilus away, that's obviously got a lot of value.
Remember this, champ?
Yeah, the Nico. So looking to play that in the support role. A lot of harass, and I feel like, you know, still going to cause issues for a melee champion if KERIA plays it, but not as counterable, I feel, as the Renata would have been. And it looks like they're just
has really risen in popularity here on this patch.
Yep, and I think Zare's definitely someone to be comfortable on it. The Taliyah ban said to me they were maybe scared of like a Taliyah Vi pickup, but we could just see T1 take Vi themselves. If they really wanted to. I think that makes the most sense here. Get that lockdown, and also against the Kalista. This is going to be a hard game to team fight into as a Kalista. You know, you're into a Vi, you're into an Ornn, you're into an Azir. Going to be a difficult one for Teddy, even if he gets fed. Very easy to get targeted by the side of T1. And now DRX looking at the options for mid-jungle. Toying with the idea of the Viego. Honestly, like a Viego Ahri could be a pretty good combo. They go for the Viego, definitely. I'd actually go for the Aurelion Sol. This has been changed on this patch.
Yeah.
Got some buffs to like his overall kit in his late game, but the trade-off was they took away the tap queuing. We saw a lot of times when Aurelion Sol was played, it's like you tap Q, you proc like Comet, and you would be able to trade on the back of that. And we felt, you know, when we were talking about this change, that the loss of that would really remove him from pro play. But yeah, who feels confident? And then Poppy coming in for Zeus in the top lane into the Renekton. So just wanting to play a tank there. Quite a low damage composition from T1, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, there is a lot of wombo combo when it comes to team fights. You know, the Vi goes in, you've got Ornhorn, you've got Azir, but you know, if Faker's not alive doing damage, if Guma's not alive doing damage as the game goes later, you don't really have that much.
Yeah, also if you fall behind, if Guma falls behind, Senna is super vulnerable to being put behind, and she's already down in levels because of how the champion works.
Yeah.
And you could be like,
for game number 1. Alrighty, game number 1. As we get ready for this one, approaching the end of week 6 here already at the LCK. We already have one team who has made it into playoffs and, due to that, made it into Worlds with that spot. Of course, that is Gen G. Still waiting to see who else is going to make it into playoffs, and with only 3 weeks left and 1 day today, we will soon find out who's making it into playoffs and who we will see in those very important matches later on this year.
Yeah, I feel like when we get to this point in the season, particularly in summer when Worlds is on the line, it definitely feels really quite impactful. You know, we start seeing teams counting down how many wins they need, how many they need to make playoffs. We start tracking it as well. And looking at the schedule going forward, you know, we've obviously already started round 2. if you've lost to an easier team at the start of round 2, there can be a lot more weight on your schedule.
Yeah, absolutely can. And I'm very curious to see how this bottom lane is going to go, because a lot of priority here from the DRX bot lane. They say, okay, well...
strength in those early grub fights, but it looks like Sponge is just going to start up the dragon, but will be spotted if Ona looks for him.
Yeah, thing is, I mean, Faker's not mid, and they have Prio from bot, so Sponge just knows he can start this up immediately, and he should. I think this is exactly the way you have to play this as the Viego. Try to get early objective wins. And so far, I've been nothing but impressed by DRX.
Yeah, the timing's so good that Faker's back because, you know, they obviously have a lot of prio bot, they have a lot of prio top, but mid is the one where you're like, you know, we saw Yahoo forced back by Faker, but because of the timing, he's able to actually find a point where Yahoo is there and Faker isn't. Now Ona's going to go straight to the grubs, but Sponge is going to come and challenge, and with Frog being level 6 and with this much prio, I think Ona's going to have to scarf her.
Yeah, Owner is up a level, and he is going to get 2 of the grubs. And with Faker nearby level 6, they were considering it, but especially seeing Pleta in mid, they're just going to back off, and that's 1 grub over to DRX.
Yep.
We all know Chovy, obviously before the changes, when the Aurelion Soul was very popular, he was hitting like 4,000. As I say that about Faker, he is now going to get knocked up, and he will just dash away. Owner goes in. And he's alone, so he realizes, hey, I'm just gonna back away. Stardust, and he was ulting, and it would just push everybody off the map, because obviously once you get that empowered ult, it just hits everyone, and it just does ridiculous damage to the point where, yes, we have a very tanky core on the side of T1, but you know, if he gets really fed, then maybe he just blows everybody up and forces them away from a big objective like an Elder or like a Baron. I mean, the Drakes have been taken very quickly here from DRX, so we might even see something like an Elder fight in this game.
I think as well, you know, with Aurelion Soul's ult, the empowered one doing so much damage to everyone. I'm not sure what's coming from that. With his ult doing so much damage, particularly for squishy people like Senna, we always see how small a health bar is. You could just lose half your health bar just from the extended AoE.
Dan, I know you're very passionate about talking about Senna and how squishy she is, but now we have a Chemtech Soul.
Just giving you no real late game option on the back of it. Oh, Frog in trouble.
Yeah, it's a Senna gank that comes in, but again, this is Renekton, and they're just going to try to turn this one around. They got Viego coming up here as well as the TP, and that's an Aurelion Soul. You're not getting away from that as he glides on in. The ult has to be flashed by Guma. And that's a nice first blood going to DRX.
Yeah, it goes really well. They end up chinning around the play, getting the kill onto the Poppy, and bearing the flash from Guma. We see KERIA going to TP in to defend this bot lane Fierce Wave, but now he's kind of trapped under the tower. Does have ult coming up in a second, so maybe if he can keep this wave away, he can prevent the dive, but Faker might just shuffle him if he does.
The root's going to come in, but that's Dominus as he goes in. The flash from Owner, but they just don't have the damage. I mean, this is under a turret against a Fed Renekton with Dominus and Black Cleaver finish. So
yeah, Frog
that dive did not work.
Playing it really well. I mean, the flash looked weird, but he knew if he got flashed on the edge of the tower, he'd get immediately ulted by Faker. So put himself back deeper under the tower, able to clear the wave, able to negate the play. Yes, it cost his flash and ult.
Yes, I mean, Frog's going to be pushed off of this one, but the damage is already done up here on the top side. Yahoo has set this up, and they have the Rift Herald, which they will probably put into the mid lane now.
Yeah.
So DRX ahead of tempo here, and nearly a 2,000 gold lead. Will be short up a little bit by Faker picking up this turret, but still feels good for DRX.
Yeah, it feels like they're making all the right decisions in this game, honestly, which, you know, considering how many struggles DRX have had in the last several weeks, this is such a good look for them. And again, it's still early days. It's not point. You know, you're not thinking about that anymore. You're really just thinking about the game in front of you. And right now, so far, it's gone pretty good. Now, TP's going to come in to try and deny this Herald, and I don't think they're going to get the value from it as a result. T1 going in force to prevent this.
I mean, DRX still here as well, but yeah, that pushback and no charge means that the Herald does not get a charge, and DRX moving now towards the Dragon. Feels like maybe with that pressure, they should have just moved towards the Dragon earlier, but trying to stay together as a team.
Yeah, T1 going to struggle to approach. Control over Banana Brush and the Aurelion Soul being able to put down that field does make it hard, but Ona looking for a flank.
This is a big ult from the side of KERIA. It's going to hit 4 people, and the ult from Zeus is going to knock back the Aurelion Soul, as a big ult will come from the Aurelion Soul. But now the Vi goes in, and we do have the Nico pop-up, but a lot of members on the side of DRX are low. But where's the damage from T1? So many low health bars here on the side of DRX, but nobody can kill anything. Finally, KERIA will get the second kill onto the Viego, and Kuma on the Senna, level 8, is able to get that final kill onto Pleta, as T1 finally turned that fight around.
Super scrappy fight there, but T1 edge up in the end. Kuma getting a ton of value in that fight, just unhit for the whole time. And the CC from T1, the target selection ends up going in their favor, but still felt
from the Poppy and the Ornn especially. And now trying to get to work here on a Frog, who just got his Dominus back, was probably spamming that one, and now do they have the damage to chase him all the way down the lane? The double slice and dice will come in, and Frog does get away. Does
manage to dip out of that one. They will still lose that tier 1 tower in the top lane, but Frog's been doing a pretty good job of weak siding, getting away from sticky situations, and it will just be a trade of towers in the side lane. Even with that fight loss, it was slight, so the gold is about even right now between the two teams, although T1 looking for a bit more here. TP gonna come in, they won't give up this tier 2 if they can help it.
Yeah, with the TP, they do keep it alive. Without the TP, I think that goes down and T1 are able to back away, but they keep it alive, but it will cost the teleport. And now, you know, a one-team fight, a delay on the Elder Drake spawner, which is, of course, the Chemtech Soul, force the issue here. As now the bottom laners just kind of playing around here in mid. KERIA already level 13. Ahead of Teddy in terms of levels, and now Sponge going 1v1 versus Owner. They're going to get the knock-up on a Yehu, but there's no follow-up here from the side of T1, so a little bit of a disengage ult.
Yeah, and I think DRX happy just to get the Ornn ult on that one. Don't need to stay around for more, but it is such a massive factor in the team fights for T1. And, you know, oftentimes we can see, you know, when we have Senna plus, you know, tank lanes, the tank later on doesn't get as much farm, or maybe struggle to get farm in lane. KERIA is very farmed right now.
Yeah.
201 CS, he is super bulky.
Not really going to chunk through this one, as the ult is going to come down, hits the Senna, and a bit of damage here on a KERIA. But
obviously has his ult to buffer like a Vial, but now TP coming in, they really want this mid-tier 1, and there's nothing DRX can do to stop it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody just backed, so Yehu alone is not going to try to hold on to that one. He will stick around and pick up as much Stardust as possible. He's at 215.
Makes all the difference, but T1 often a team who will just sporadically start Baron.
DRX.
And not always going to have it. Yeah, they're not even going towards the Dragon. They're looking for a pick here, potentially.
They saw that it was Chemtech Soul, and they're like, yeah, we don't really care about that. We're just going to try to set up on Baron. Now, T1 handled this well. I don't think that DRX were fooling anyone there, as there is vision now in the Baron pit. And so T1 will just get another Chemtech Drake, as now, little fight coming in, but KERIA goes way too deep by himself. That's now getting flanked by Frog. He is all alone in the enemy jungle. Down he will go. That is that very tanky Ornn just dead, and now DRX looking at that Baron.
Yeah, Ornament came in for KERIA, and he was like, I'm invincible. Apparently not, is the lesson he quickly learned. And empowered ult for Yehu now. One member of T1 down, KERIA no TP, they used it for the mid-tier 1. DRX want to start up this Baron.
T1, okay, this Baron, specifically the Hunter Baron, does a lot of damage, but this is going to be a rough steal from the side of Owner. I mean, there's a Kalista, you've got Smite, and they're down a member as the knockback comes in, and now it's just a massive Aurelion Soul ult, and the Kalista gets the Baron, and T1 do a bunch of damage, but they're losing everything else. Nobody on the side of DRX will fall except Sponge, and Zeus is just on the run here. Yehu looking for a little bit more, and he should be. Okay.
Oh, too much healing, too much healing.
So the plants are going to come in, and that's fine. That would have just been the bonus. DRX already here. He is going to be that unkillable Renekton as this game comes along.
Yeah, it's really difficult for DRX to hit this tower just because of the threat of the Ornn ult, the Vi ult. So they are struggling to get this tier 1, but it looks like they're trying to move down towards bot for Zeus.
Looking to land the stun or something. The Keeper's Verdict is going to hit the Aurelion Soul away, but the two members of DRX are already on the Poppy, and Zeus cannot survive. As that Poppy looking really squishy at this point in the game with the amount of damage that DRX have and the momentum they have.
Yeah, great ult from Yehu, and Frog layers the CC, kills him, and the damage from Sponge is there as well. The Ornn ult comes in, but not able to connect. Now T1 are going to try and find something here on Yahoo, but they might be in trouble themselves.
Oh, it's a root here on Owner. He's in a ton of trouble. I mean, look at that massive chunk that the Aurelion Soul is at this point, and the Vi alone is obviously going to be taken down. The only gold lead is on the Ornn. As Sponge, he's going to get a flash out of the Senna as well. That means that Guma's going to have less survivability on the next Aurelion Soul ult. This is all just going swiftly downhill as DRX have a massive snowball that they have rolled in this game.
Yep, they managed to get the mid tier 1, they managed to get the bot tier 2, they managed to get some more kills as well. They could be so happy with just how this game is going so far. T1 set up for the Dragon again. It's only a chem tech, but DRX not going to let them get this one for free.
Yeah, this time around, DRX want to fight for it, as a lot of poke damage is coming out of the Azir. Faker doing a good job of that. But is it going to be effective damage here? As we don't have the empowered ult, and a lot of damage does go into the Dragon, as T1 will take it down. DRX say, okay, you poked us out. We're not going to try to force this one. It's just Chemtech Drake. Doesn't do much for us. And now just kind of chasing T1 through their own jungle. They want to push and get some mid-prio here and maybe take down another turret. But now, KERIA going to throw his ult as the flank is coming in. Sponge in a really rough spot. As now the ult from the Poppy is going to knock him away. Yehu is all alone on the top side of this one as these fights have been so messy. Pleta, a massive ult as Faker in a lot of trouble, has to flash away. KERIA going in by himself. He's got Guma on the backside. Yehu's going to go down by himself. KERIA is so tanky, but does eventually go down to the human nexus that is Teddy. T1 looking for a little bit more on the chase as the charge comes in from Zeus, and it looks like Pleta will have to give his life for the team.
T1 managed to find that engage, and that's the danger against his composition. Oh, Teddy!
The flash comes in. That's a shutdown for the Vi, and importantly, Teddy will be taken down, and Baron spawns in 15 seconds.
Yeah, they're not going to be up in time to deal with it yet.
They absolutely can with Yehu and how gigantic this Dragon is, but the Ornn comes in as T1 look for the turn, and they get absolutely bombed in the river. Massive damage comes out from the Aurelion Soul as Yehu, he is going to go down to Faker though, who is doing an insane amount of damage, and now Zeus and KERIA able to win a 2v2 up there. Frog trades one back, but man, that Aurelion Soul was insane, and DRX stopped the Baron attempts.
One of the things that got buffed, you know, the nerf to the tap cube with the buff to the ult damage, and you could see it there. And now DRX, they can start it up. They don't have a jungler, but they have a Kalista, and that's all you need.
They got a Kalista, they've got a tank, and this Baron does do a lot of damage. You see Frog is getting a little bit low, and Faker with the Mega Cone is just going to go to the north side here alongside of Zeus and try to fight this straight up. Pleta just trying to avoid it as the Fate's Call, they dodge the ult from the Poppy, but they take out two, and it's only Teddy who does get the Baron, and
wait, Teddy!
1v2ing! Teddy able to stand up to two, and Zeus will take him down at the last moment.
He gets the Baron, he gets Faker, but Zeus is too much for him.
Oh, I mean, they have like the Nico ult, that would be huge. So maybe they'll rely on that, but just gonna go for the Drake, as they do have just an intense amount of damage. The smite comes in, and the Kalista secures it. And T1 say, well, you get it. We'll try to get mid-prio. Frog in a lot of trouble, goes for the Dominus, is gonna get swept, and the team and Frog is just so tanky though, as the rest of DRX is coming on over. They want to take the fight. Owner is in a lot of trouble, but the Yehu ult doesn't do that much damage, and down will go the Renekton. And now Yehu's on the run. Pleta's on the other side of the fight as here comes Faker once again, looking for more. But the peel comes in from Sponge to help out Teddy. Nobody can get on this Kalista as they're trying to lock the soldier forward. And Owner, here comes Zeus looking for this, but the Sonya's is going to keep him alive. And the rest of the team is able to dive under the turret. Zeus is able to lock them in place. As now Teddy, the range from the Senna is too long. And maybe, just maybe, T1 has won a big team fight. I don't think they'll win the game, as now they're trying to get Pleta here, who was just pushing mid, and he will just die.
Yeah, the human nexus, but Guma is now a fountain laser and just runs him down. T1 managed to get a clean sweep in that fight. Pleta trying to push the wave out to stop the game being ended. The ult wasn't empowered, unfortunately. They only get a GA, and then the chase down. The slows from the center really starting to be a problem for the side of DRX. Sponge gets caught up by KERIA, and it's just flank from Zeus as well at the end. Zhonya's from Yahoo is great, but this Poppy is so tanky.
Yeah.
The tower just not doing enough.
Massive shields too. You know, they have 3 Chemtech Drakes, so it actually does make a decent difference, helps them out there. And eventually, the Fountain Laser, as you mentioned, this time is...
And they are starting it up. DRX have vision, but T1 have their engages ready to play interrupt on whoever approaches.
Yeah, I'm looking for this Keeper's Verdict right now as the ult comes in from Frog. They want to get...
Oh, the massive knockup from the side of Pleta and the follow-up, but T1 are still turning this one around, but Faker the first one to go down. Guma's also going to hit the deck. The rest of the team, though, is dead on the side of DRX, but this Viego is getting reset. Finally does go down as it's just the 2 tanks left, and the Dragon is just breathing on everyone. A triple kill comes through, and Sage will go down as well. And they have that damage to get the job done.
Pleta with the monster ink. Soul right now ends up finding this beautiful angle. The flash, 4 members there, and then the ult follow-up on the backline, and they just get melted.
It's kind of insane that the fight was still close after that happened. It's credit to, you know, T1 scaling in their comp, I guess, because they got absolutely bodied with that engage by the side of DRX. And by the end of it, DRX still won, and they still have their Dragon up. They pick up the Baron in live, as you can see.
Most the fights are being, any little difference is going to help.
Yeah.
And remember, no empowered ult now.
12k damage, 11.5k damage in the last fight.
Yeah, when he can breathe fire, when he can ult like that, he can get the damage down. Yahoo's doing a monstrous amount, and now he doesn't have the empowered ult. They don't end up fighting the Chemtech Soul. T1 will get it. But Yahoo has to be the focus target, I feel. If he gets another ult like that, it might just be game over. Yeah, the Callisto secure really makes it a lot easier, but the fight's going to come in.
Oh, the ult there onto the Renekton, but the massive damage there. But Yahoo is alone in the front line. He has to go zombie with the turn, but their Dragon is already dead. Down will go Faker, though. Is there a chance, perhaps, for Sponge and Teddy to carry this one? Owner on the chase here. Pleta's going to go down. Teddy's also going to go down. I think T1 have finally broken the backs of DRX in this game 1.
They managed to take down Yahoo. The ult looks massive. Pleta gets a big ult, but it's just not enough. And Guma, the Fountain Laser, comes through clutch in this game. T1 able to close it out. An absolute battle to get to this point, and this is just game 1 and breaking the record 4 kills in a game this summer. An absolute slugfest.
I mean, this was just insane. 46 minutes. I did not expect to cast a game like this in game number 1 of this series as well. But T1, they do take down the Nexus. They get the first win of the best of 3. And Guma, by the end of it all, this place edge. I mean, there's a lot of talk here from Frog, so I thought maybe they were going to pick like Renekton or something, but it's just Callista first again. And so Owner buys himself a Sejuani if he would like to play that.
Yeah, they could just take that, could pair up with a strong pick. They could even go like Renekton Sedge on this rotation if they wanted to, though Zeus, a lot of people have been leading into the Renekton priority, Zeus not so much. Azir Sedge has been a super powerful 1-2. In the LCK. You know, I say powerful, it's been very popular, you know. It is, they're both strong picks. The synergy maybe not there as much as like some other pairings, but looks like Owner's like, no, I'm happy with the Vi into Callista, have fun playing the game. I think DRX could just go Renekton Sedge themselves here. I think Frog had a good game with the Renekton. You know, maybe you just go in that direction. But it looks like they're gonna secure the Renata. I think this makes sense, considering the Nico's gone.
Yeah. They know where their bread is buttered.
Oh,
and
no.
It's the bot lane.
Yeah,
so
they are
the bot lane as soon as you possibly can.
They are fully dialed into this. So, like, okay, Pleta had a great game. Let's give him Renata. Let's see some big AoE ults. And then Yahoo on the Aurelion Sol again. And look, I read those patch notes. I saw what they said about, hey, high-level play, the tap Q, really powerful. We're going to hit his laning. And a lot of the opinions I heard was, well, he's just not...
Yeah, I do agree. And... so they're going to take that away, and there's not a lot of great options into Kennen, to be honest. So the Senna, once again, going to be banned here, and it's just Draven for Guma. So going to try to fight fire with fire and run straight at the Callista and try to win lane.
Yeah, and Sponge, a lot of Zins out under his belt, so might just lean towards that. I think there's a lot of damage coming out from T1. Very different composition to last time where we said, hey, you know, they're limited in damage threats. The Senna's going to take a long time to come online. They've cut the bulk down, and everyone is playing a champ they can really carry on, I feel, right now. So Zin's out, a lot of value in the ultimate, could also cause some disruption. But it looks like Frog might be going for the Jace here into the Kennen. The Cassante, you know, you're a Cassante. You do what you do. Looks like they'll go for that, so not going to be a winning lane matchup. And this is kind of my concern, is the Aurelion Sol worked fine when you had pressure bot and top. Now you've lost that pressure top, and bot lane, KERIA has counter pick.
Yeah.
I could feel like he could take a range support here, and his goal would just be to win lane hard.
SORAKA!
SORAKA coming out in this one, and it's actually going to make it so hard for Kalista, because the thing with the Kalista is you're focusing damage on a one target, you're stacking up those spears, you're just going to have to keep stacking and stacking and stacking as the target gets healed up. Going to be very hard against a Draven, and the scaling of the SORAKA absolutely massive. You can essentially counteract the damage from Yehu's ult. I think Yehu definitely needs Oblivion Orb in this one.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we'll see the itemization, I assume, just pull out of healing and support and chanter items, but as you mentioned, I was thinking the same thing. It started much earlier than game number 1. Let's hop into the Rift. All right, game number 2, as it is Teleport Exhaust Cassante.
Oh, so this is huge because obviously DRX are like, look, we need Ignite into SORAKA. We can't play our 2v2 in the lane without Ignite. It's just unplayable. And they're like, okay, well, Sponge can't take Exhaust. Yehu can't take Exhaust. Frog's like, you know what? I've got you.
Yeah.
I'll take the Exhaust for the Kennen. And honestly, you can just run over to the Kennen, exhaust the Kennen, ult him out of the fight. Like, you know, good luck. Zaya's having a big ultimate in this one.
Yeah, I think his positioning is going to be paramount. He's really going to have to find the nice angles to catch them off guard so that at least he gets value at first, and then, you know, maybe he gets exhausted and pulled out of the fight, everything you mentioned. But certainly does feel like a very nice neutralizing pick as a tank into the top lane Kennen.
Also, something annoying playing Aurelion Sol into SORAKA is, what does Aurelion Sol need to do for his Q? Stand still. And use his glide, and then SORAKA can just throw a silence on his head. I think Plato was trying to find a handshake angle there, but now Sponge in trouble.
He's going to have to go in here. A lot of damage already done to Guma as Sponge goes the opposite way from the Vi, and actually...
Yehu no longer has the strong side lanes.
Oh, the max range Q. That's a lot of damage, and Yehu's just going to glide away.
He used pretty much all of his thing as well. I mean, you know, I talked about how...
Oh boy, here we go. They're just going to run them down, and the silence comes in. Putta, the last hit is going to get the job done as, yes, bailout keeps him alive for a little bit, but it's still first blood to Guma already.
And it's working well for T1. Guma already getting the cash in. Wasn't too much gold, but a good start for the Draven lane, and going to contest the area. They will start this up, but there is members of T1 around who could come uncontested, so I think DRX, you might have to back off and be happy with 1 or 2.
I think they'll get 2. As T1, they move over, but it's a little bit slow. The mid-prio is there, but Yehu's just always threatening coming in. The handshake is going to be utilized. It's not going to hit anyone. His owner's pulled back, and he's just going to get away. And now Faker finds the angle alongside Azeu, says, yes, the exhaust is there, but Sponge is already dead. Doesn't have his flash anymore. As Pleta and Yehu also get pushed away, and owner's going to pick up 1 grub.
T1 just managing to find these angles, getting engaged, and DRX staying for far too long there. The exhaust having a rough time, and Owner goes to the dragon, but I think they were very afraid of the prospect of Owner turning a bot.
The bottom lane is obvious. It just feels like T1, all the plates going down as well. It's just huge, and you talked about it in the draft with DRX not having as many winning lanes and the counter pick for KERIA coming up huge. This is what T1 does best.
Yeah, and Guma just picked up a Bloodthirster. I just don't see in any scenario how you actually, like, who has the damage to kill him in the bot lane. Like, I'm pretty sure you need Yehu and Frog to, like, CC chain him to death if he's going to go down.
Yeah.
You can no longer play the 2v2 bot. I mean, we've already seen them just trying to farm and avoid any fights, but that is going to be how you have to play the rest of the lane. I genuinely see DRX wanting to swap away from the situation in the bot lane, disengage.
Pointing outs here. Let's see if T1 can get away from this one, as that is Yehu. They've got their own TP from FAKER. As, yeah, the ult's going to be used by Yehu, but now he's just flashing and dashing away. I mean, that doesn't really do much in the trade of TPs.
I'm actually really glad that FAKER TP'd, because if he didn't...
In this game. Yehu's in a bit of trouble. Ibai is finally going to use her ult, and the silence comes down so you don't get a dash away. You talked about how valuable that is into the Aurelion Soul, and we see it on display already. 13 minutes into the game.
Yep, and this is the punishment for using that flash in the bot lane, and Teddy is 1v1 against Guma now.
He's going to try to go for the 1v1 here. I'm not sure exactly why. Just trying to push him off the turret or something.
He sees his health bar get low, and he's like, oh, I might be able to find this. Guma autos, and his health just goes back up, and you're like,
yeah. It's like 10% per auto. It's like, oh. Yeah, that's going to be the first turret blood going over to Guma.
One of the interesting things with Draven is the extra damage from his axes doesn't crit. So you can crit on an axe auto, but the bonus damage from the Q doesn't actually...
Save it, he was silenced. So
yeah.
it just, there's no winning on either side of that play. Look at the difference in plates. I mean, it's 10 plates to 0. And the laning phase dominance from T1 has really left its mark on this game number 2. It's not going to look anything like game 1 unless DRX get a massive turnaround. But they're going into Guma, who is a one-man army, and he has the rest of his team with him, as now going to get the handshake on here, the engage Renata, but the massive Kennen ult on top of everybody, and yes, the exhaust will help out. Down will go the Kennen, down will go Zeus, but the rest of the team looking to follow up here. They're not quite able to, though. A lot of health bars are low, as here comes FAKER. The sweep gets nobody. And they're just all going to get away.
So going to miss. Honestly, considering DRX had a pretty good fight there with the deficit, and with the ult that came in from Zeus, I thought that was just a clean sweep.
And KERIA are, and they are. By the way, redemption rush here from KERIA.
Yeah.
No Moonstone just yet. But at least Teddy's, you know, he's not that far behind. He has a kill. He didn't die. But I do wonder if he's going to be able to utilize any of the farm he's gotten in this game as it comes along, because there are just so many threats on the side of T1.
Set on that mid-tier 1 and won't let it go down, using the full force of their team to try and defend it.
Uh-oh. Just going to face check into the Xin Zhao. Now it is a Azir, and he is going to dash away, but now we got the ult on top of him as well. He's going to get the knock-up on the FAKER. Here come the heals from the Soraka, and the redemption to keep him alive! It's just not fair, as FAKER, his side lane shenanigans are only empowered by the power of Soraka.
Look at KERIA, he's not even there, just walking around like, yep, I carried, I did that, I made the difference. Massive value on both of those. Owner as well, getting the ult down so much, but
uh-oh, here's the kill! But he does have exhaust, and it is Cassante. Look at Zeus, he's trying to help. The cleanse comes in, Guma has to flash away, and he's still gonna get the execute, Jesus! And that's a kill. Now, they do have TP here available on Zeus. I don't know if they can really commit to this DRX, as now the TP comes in.
They've got to do it, they've got to do it.
It is a little bit late, but Owner's in the pit. He's ulting out of the backline. Sponge is dead. Oh no, it's disaster for DRX. It's an easy smite for T1. And this will be pretty much the end of the game, as massive amounts of golds went to the Draven. The Baron's going to go to the hands of T1. And they're already even pushing mid, as Owner's just going to chase Pleta and keep him off the map. Zeus says, I want a piece of the action as well. And Owner will pick up the kill. T1 running away with this game.
I don't think that could have gone worse for DRX. I genuinely think if you said, what is the worst thing that could happen right now? That would have been it. That was exactly it.
Yeah. That exact scenario.
It's actually funny how Frog really gave Guma a jump scare. You can see Zeus was kind of like, you got him right, you're good.
Yeah.
He like hand walks him, he's like, okay. There she dies. Guma gets about 8 billion gold.
Approximately.
Roughly, give or take.
He has 3.5 items at 25 minutes.
Yeah, if you round up to 8 billion, it's about 8 billion gold.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of items. I kind of want to, for science, of course, for science, I want to see him auto someone. See how much damage it does.
Yeah. All right, let's see it. Come on, Guma.
I think ideally Teddy.
Zeus is just going to press his buttons. He's just flashing on them, and they're all dead. It's another execute to come in. And yeah, that was an auto as well onto the Sinjao. Other stuff is happening, but I'm just watching the Draven one-shot people as, yeah.
Oh, are we going to see how much damage it does? Because he killed Planet, but he was 1 HP. Oh, there's Teddy. Run to him, Guma, run to him. That's surely one auto.
They're like, nah, it's not worth it.
The thing is, he has a decent amount of crit, but if he doesn't crit as well, it's not the same.
Teddy's like, oh, I'll just stop the wave. Wait, they already have a wave. And, well, guys, this game is over. I'm sorry that game number 2 is not nearly as fun as game 1. But T1 really bopped them over the head.
Oh, that's a Cassante.
Yeah, that's a Cassante. He's nearly dead. Just 3-4 autos down to that health as, yeah, Owner might go down here. The Nexus is very low as are they going to hit the Nexus? Okay, they finally do. And that'll be the end of game 2. T1 take the 2-0 tonight.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit unfortunate. We obviously, the draft, I feel like in game 1 had a lot of advantages for the side of DRX. The draft in game 2, not as good. They got kind of pick bot lane. That was great from Guma and KERIA bringing that